This is part 3 of our series on how to grow, expand, and scale your stationery business. We're going to talk about scaling. Scaling can mean a lot of things to different people, but in general, if you're at this point ready to scale, you have been at this for a few years, you have a steady income, you've had quite a few clients under your belt, you know what you like and don't like about the shop. So if you're feeling that way, this video is for you. If not, go back and check out parts 1 and 2. So these are my 5 steps to scaling your stationery business. First is that you want to start paying yourself an actual salary on payroll. If it's just you, you probably want to switch to filing as an S Corp. You're still going to be an LLC, but you're putting yourself on payroll, you're paying payroll taxes, and after you've made like 50 to 70K in profit in a year, switching to an S Corp is going to save you money on taxes. So it's a really great option. You're also going to be on a regular payroll, so you can start acting like an actual employee. You're going to get a W-2 from your business. It's just a little bit more serious way to think about your finances when it comes to your business. Of course, talk to your accountant before you make any of these specific changes, but typically they recommend if you're making 50 to 70K profit, this is going to be a more cost-effective move for the business. Next up, it might be time to make your first hire if you haven't already. You might be outsourcing certain tasks, but it might be time to bring someone under your wing, whether that's a contractor or an actual employee. We have another video with 5 tips for hiring, but just make sure you understand all of the costs and limitations of different types of employees. One thing I want to say about hiring is it feels really hard when it's just been you up until this point, but having someone that you can rely on, having some people who encourage you to act more like a CEO. All of these things can be really positive moves for your business, and a lot of people in this stage are probably hoping to return to some of the things they liked about their business at the beginning. In growing your business, you've done a lot of amazing things, but sometimes that takes us away from the things that were joyful at the beginning. So hiring someone, outsourcing a little bit more, delegating a little bit more is a great way to return to some of those things and avoid the burnout that a lot of people feel around that 5 to 10 year mark. With your new hire, you're going to want to start to automate some processes and put actual systems in place. As an example, we regularly joke that Laney just remembers everything is not an actual system. So you want to start automating some things and having places that things go. This could be as simple as using Trello and just having different boards where you put ideas and you put tasks and people move them around to whatever status they're in. It can be more complicated. You can devise internal systems. You can use Asana, you can use Notion, a lot of different systems that you can use to create systems, but you want to start automating things so that your employees are not physically having to do things. So anything that you're doing regularly, try and template it. Anything that's going through like email, see if you can automate that. Any of your marketing tasks, can you automate some of those? Can you run some ads to your work so that leads are coming in, and yes, you're paying a little bit of money for them, but you're not having to devote any time to them. This is the point in your business where your time gets so expensive and so limited that it's worth it to start paying money to save a lot of that time for yourself. At the beginning of your business, you have all this time and you have no money, but we have crossed this threshold and we are now at a point where you have a lot more money than you have time probably. So in that case, it's worth investing in things that will save you time. The 4th thing you want to do at this point is start adding revenue streams. I'm not saying just expand to a million different things, but most likely if you are an invitation designer, you're spending a lot of time with these clients, you're spending a lot of time working on designs, etc. What are some ways that you can untie your time from your revenue? Because that's the way that you continue to grow and step back. And that doesn't mean that you have to stop doing the things you love. So if the thing you love is talking to clients, great. If the thing you love is designing, great. How can you use those things to add some additional revenue streams? For instance, if what you love the most is painting, how can you take the paintings you've done and maybe license them for additional, more passive income in another way? So yes, you're doing these paintings for your clients and you're still spending your time on that. How can you make more money off of the work that you're already doing? They always say, millionaires have 7 different revenue streams. So when you're thinking about your business and the longevity of it, the way it's going to adapt to economic downturns, to changes in the market, to new trends, etc., the way to do that is to really diversify your revenue streams. That does not mean that you need to go into education or teaching if that's not something you want, but there are a lot of different ways you can make money off of the same type of work that you're already doing. I've got a class on diversifying and using passive revenue that I'm going to link in the description for you. I think it's a great intro to all the different revenue streams that are available for stationery designers and how to get started on them. Okay, number 5 is a bit less specific, but it's just that you have to start acting like a CEO. We talked about this in the expansion video part 2. If you watched that, we have to say thank you for the person that got us through step 1 of starting your business. We have to say thank you to the person who got us through step 2 of expanding your business, getting you to this point of steady revenue, getting you to this point of steady clients and amazing work and accolades and all the things that you've accomplished. That person was amazing. However, that person is not going to be good at delegating to new hires. That person is not going to be good at diversifying. That person is not going to be good at the things that you need to do now that you're a CEO. So hiring, delegating, taking some of the things that you don't love off of your plate requires you to spend more time doing some of those higher level tasks. And while those can always seem fun, sometimes that is a little bit of a burden too. And we have to take that on as we are expanding. We have to grow and become this new version of ourselves. So as a CEO, you maybe don't need to do as many styled shoots. You maybe don't need to be as involved with your clients. You maybe don't need to be the one doing all the little revisions. You maybe don't need to be the one ordering envelopes every time. There's a lot of things that you might not need to do now that you're at this stage of your business. And so kind of in a sad way, you have to say goodbye to those things. Thank the person who has done them in the past, thank the person who's going to be doing them now, and you have to step into your new role as a CEO. I'm making that sound scary, and I'm sorry about that because being the CEO can be fun and exciting, and this is the stage that I'm in my business, is really having to hold myself accountable to being a CEO as opposed to that sole contributor that I have been for the last 10 years in my business. So you can do this with me. We can step into that role of CEO. And now whenever a task comes through, you can say, okay, is there a way I can automate this? Is there a way I can delegate this? What would a CEO do? And if there is a CEO that you have in mind that you especially admire, this is a great chance to say, okay, what would she do in this situation? And that can help you like get out of your emotions and step into the truth of what needs to happen in this scenario. I know you can do it. You have built something incredible, and you're just going to keep expanding and scaling that to the next level. So I hope you enjoyed this little series. If you truly are at this scaling point in your journey, I have a little form under the scale section that I'm going to link for you below, and I hope you'll fill it out because I have a special little community just for stationery designers who are at this point in their business. Let me know what you think of this series. Was this helpful, and is there anything I can point you to help you scale to the next level?